Wow, that's a lot of
It's
kids.
insane. We just hired like 3 more people today.
Yeehaw.
All right, so shall we open the meeting?
All right, I have started the recording. Oh, I should probably. Oh, it is on. Okay, cool.
7:10.
All right. So you got a request for demolition delay for 29 Thornton Street. It is on the inventory, so it requires a public hearing. The owner is Alicante Properties LLC. I think they own a couple of lots up there. I have not had any, other than this permit being submitted, I don't believe the applicant has said anything or commented anything. I'm just double checking. So I don't know if they're going to attend. We have 2 pictures that were provided. And I think Connie shared a ton of info that we can review. But
Connie, do you want to rehash your research?
Well, I have to look it up to be sure.
That's okay.
I found it if you want. June 1st.
Do you want me to talk about 29 Thornton Street then?
Sure, if you want, I think.
Was the Rogers family farmhouse. It was built in 1750. It was known as Ashway Farm, according to Norman Rogers' obituary. Norman's parents, Bernard and Lottie Rogers, lived there on the family farm with their 7 children. And and that included Bernard Harold, who was in the Merchant Marines, and he also has a chicken farm on Thornton Ave and on the opposite side of the road. And Raymond, father of Wesley and Earl Rogers, and Ethel Rogers Colburn. And Leonard Rogers lived at 88 North Ave. He was their brother. Let's see. The dairy barns and pastures and fields are on the opposite side of the home at 29 Thornton. William Rogers in the 80s and early 90s was the last one to run a dairy farm there until he moved out to Warren, Mass, where he was able to buy more land to farm. And Wesley and Earl farmed there approximately the 1940s and until maybe the 60s. Norman Rogers, it was the founder of the Norman I. Rogers Industry, Incorporated at 61 Hartford Avenue West, Mendon. He was a published poet and was in the International Poetry Hall of Fame in Washington, D.C., and the International Society of Poetry. And Norman served the town of Mendon for 25 years as a member of the Planning Board and was the 1995 Senior Citizen of the Year. As far as I know, the house did not have central heat. It was heated by wood stoves. At least that was in the late 80s, early 1990s. And even at that time, the house was in rough shape. It didn't have a lot of modern improvements or renovations.
This is 1800s, half bath, something extra fixture upstairs. 275 feet of frontage, only 1.2 acres. So it must have been.
Well, I might have confused it with, I thought I had 13 acres there at that side, but that might have been another house in that area that had the 13, but I'm sure it had more land at one point, and they had a lot of land across the street that's now all been developed.
Yeah, so this must have all been land, all these houses.
Both sides of the street, for a bit,
This is the property.
yeah.
So the barns that are further down on Thornton Street, do we know if those were part of the original Rogers property? Or were they always the
Labasti
Labastis?
area. The Labastis area and that big barn that's opposite that farmhouse, that
Yeah.
was Labastis. As far as I know, that wasn't Rogers.
Okay,
And he
all
had the
right.
junkyard too there for a long time on the right side by the barn, with lots of cars there. That's been cleaned up now.
Really? Wow.
But where Harold Rogers lived is down the street diagonally opposite 29, or quite a bit. And there's a little concrete block, like little, looks like a garage.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
his chicken barn. And he had a chicken farm and sold eggs.
No.
And he was one of the brothers. And he was my uncle, so that's how I knew.
Wow.
And so I'm sure the family, he bought that land from the family to have that house. And then my great-grandfather built his house. That's there. It's a small little, I don't know what you call it. Not really a bungalow, but it's a small little
Right,
one
right.
and a half story house.
Was that up for sale a couple of years ago, I think?
It was. The
It
Rogers
more than-
family had it when Harold and Bertha died, mid-90s, I guess that was. A member of William was at 29 Thornton, then he moved, and the Rogers family was in Harold's home for a while, but I don't know it looks like no one's there now. It looks very derelict, but a lot of times it doesn't look like someone's living there.
Right, right.
But, I don't know, but it was Rogers family. And how far, they had fields up in the back. Now, how far back they went, I don't really know.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they did have quite a few cows, and so you do need pasture and land,
Right.
So they probably had 30 acres, maybe more, at one point. But it's an 1750 house, which is historic, but it is, I'm sure it's in tough shape. I think it's sitting right on the ground. I don't know if there's any cellar hole or anything, but it's too bad to lose something old.
I know,
Yeah.
especially that age. Do you know, if there is if there's a basement?
I'm thinking not based on this. It says,
Do you have the property card up?
have it hard, it's hard to. It says 2.5 stories. 0% basement finished.
There's a basement, it's probably just a dirt one, like they
Oil.
did. Oh, does it have oil heat now? Okay.
Forced
Forced hot air, okay.
Oh, basement crawl.
Yeah,
Basement unfinished.
That's the
Upper
2.5.
story finished.
Yeah.
Base
they're
area
probably
plus
just on
basement crawl.
rubble and then just enough to, I mean, it would take, if someone wanted to renovate it, it would take some money to.
Exterior
pretty.
F. So is that fail?
Like,
I don't know, I think those are the conditions that they use to like grade.
So the interior would be average. I think
That
the A's are all
looks like-
averages.
That doesn't look like a crawl space.
These are the pictures we got. Is that?
yeah,
So it's been decided.
But on that card, it's just giving you 840 square feet, unfinished basement, and then there's a basement crawl space, which I would think is the piece at the back, maybe an addition.
Oh, yeah, that could be.
But I think 840 is going to be first floor, second floor.
Let's get 21
Yeah. Good sized house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
well, they had 7 children there, so of course, years ago, they would
Well,
make
then they had to-
they could have 2 rooms and have 7 children.
I was going to say, they obviously were in very close contact with each other, weren't they?
4 bedrooms, 9 rooms.
Yeah,
God,
I
well,
mean,
those in the
it's like
days
a
when people
colonial
had-
kind of style if you'd made it. you
Those
know,
in the
if you
days when
fix it up.
people had to share bedrooms.
Oh, sure,
Heaven forbid.
yeah.
It would have been nice if the applicant had any communication whatsoever.
Right.
I guess we could like formally open the hearing, but this was advertised, letters were mailed to the parties.
Right. So we are officially in hearing mode. So as far as the criteria for demolition delay, how many of the criteria do we meet?
Let me look at the
We meet the age requirement.
in terms of those four criteria, I think it clearly meets the, it meets the age. Is it associated with events or activities other than just kind of, farming in general? That's maybe,
Just farming in general that I know of, yeah.
the lives of person or persons significant in the common town. I mean,
Well,
Rogers
that Norman
Yeah.
Rogers and the
Pretty
Rogers
important
family is
family.
pretty important family, yeah.
And then,
I mean, that business is still going on with Stanley and his son, so.
yeah,
Right,
And they used to plow for Mendon. Way back, Norman got, after the war, got vehicles from the army and refitted them so they could plow in the bad winters and stuff.
wow.
And sometimes nothing else would work for plowing but the vehicles he had. So, but we're going back. just
Right,
after
right.
World War II.
In the Rogers, Norm, is it Norman Rogers? There's like a building on Hartford Ave West.
Yes,
So,
that one that's like a cinder block
That's where
on the
they're still
right, And
working.
it's just a little before Thornton Street.
yeah,
And so that's Norman I. Rogers Industries, and that's the one that's continued by Stanley Rogers and his son. And it's, Stanley is Norman's son, and then his son. I don't remember his son's name, but, so they're still in business. And Norman plows for the state, does the state roads
oh, wow.
with that company, 16 and everything.
Wow.
So it's a significant family. That was quite the business. And Norman with his poetry and serving on the planning board, I thought was significant.
and the last one is the building itself.
I mean, it is
I mean, we do-
classic
we do-
colonial.
Yeah, it's sort of like it's a little not, and it's kind of asymmetrical in a way, but it's like the colonial type with the narrow,
Mm.
kind of colonial type. But the outside has just been utilitarian. I mean, no one's tried to fix it up. Now, you do know that if someone was going to renovate it, they'd have to put some money into it to make it
Sure,
look better. and to
absolutely.
Improve it, and I don't know what their purpose is, but it would be nice if it could be saved.
I mean, what is our inventory in the 1700s now? I mean, you,
So, I'll share.
Unfortunately, sometimes it costs more to renovate than to knock
Yeah,
down and build
yeah.
new.
So this, collaborate, is the list, starting with the oldest. So we got 23 Inman Hill, which is, that's official lot, right? Where she is.
Oh, yeah, yep, that is.
And this Pleasant, Providence, so, North Ave, so.
Does
17
Pleasant still stand?
Yeah, isn't that the one? I thought that was one of the ones that applied to get pulled off the thing. I don't remember. So some of these coming forward. You got some 1750. What is this one? This list up. 15 Thornton. I think we have it as 1800. Yeah, 29 Thornton.
Is 1800?
Well, so Patrice has 1800, started 1800. But I think it was hard, and you said, what did you think it was?
1750.
Yeah.
That's what was in Norman Rogers' obituary that the Rogers family had, so I assume that might be
According to
accurate.
Patrice, no Rogers lived here until 1912.
Yeah, that's probably right. It was Ashway Farm before that, and there were other families there.
Rogers, Southwood, Patterson, Bates, Marion. This is all the big lots that we know about. So I don't know, yeah, I mean, it'd be nice to know what the applicant's plans were.
Yeah.
You know, there was a way that we could be, saving this house or building something in this style. That
So-
said, was the benefit of delaying this any further as they, I don't know, is someone gonna come and buy it? I don't think we got an application for demo delay.
So,
Yeah.
Let me read his
Action, right.
application and see if it said any more specific.
Thought it said something about
Details.
wasn't worth repairing or something to that effect.
yeah, and you know,
Single-family
it's
home
not the
built
first
not
time.
safe, cannot be repaired. That's all we got.
And how long have they owned it, Dan?
That, I don't know. So the last thing here, Patrice has got, they bought it in December 19, 2022.
Yeah, because that was when they put
Ethel
Alicante.
Coburn, and
Ethel
then
Coburn.
Robert A. Linfeld and John A. Linfeld, and then Robert A. Linfeld sold it to Zelda for the trustee of the Allen Ansel Trust, and then they sold it to Alicante Properties in 2022.
And could you just pull that list up one more time? The one that you just had,
The
the
1700
roster of
list.
1,700 houses.
There's a lot more than I thought. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
Means if it meets so many criteria, that would be concerning, I think.
My only concern, though, is depending on the other items on our agenda, is there any benefit to putting a delay on this when we may not have a functioning commission going forward until we have a membership, until we have to be appointed? We're kind of wasting everybody's time because the commission is doing all that, we're looking at everything.
Is there any way to know if anyone's been living in it? I wonder if it's vacant, if the problems are that it's, termites or like what makes it structurally unsound?
That I don't know, and I didn't think to ask Ellie until I gave Scott. Fireworks,
Joining us.
David's outside.
More fun than we are.
I
So
mean,
don't know.
honestly, it would be better to know more information about the house. It would be really good to be able to evaluate it up close in order to make a determination. And maybe we could do that on the grounds that it's,
I think so. We could, we can only conduct business with a quorum. So
Right.
that-
What's the form?
So, anyone who's on this agenda, we intend to appoint the commission to take any action. We have 60 days, I believe, to make their decisions. But I do agree, it would have been nice, and all those first conversation, understand what's going on. Certainly documented.
yeah,
Yeah.
The gentleman sent us all those pictures. Regardless of our decision, I think it's important that we get in there and get pictures, all,
yeah, I agree. I agree. I mean, it's very difficult to evaluate something just based on its date. Although it's like, what, 2.5 of the criteria met, which kind of pushes us in that direction. But if we could have a conversation, if there could be a conversation.
Is yes the person who wants to demolish it?
No, this is David Demarche.
David Demarche. Oh,
Yes, hello?
Hello.
David, how are
Joined
you?
us.
Good, how are you?
Good. We're just finishing up our conversation on a demolition
Okay.
permit.
All right,
So
I'm here.
We should be done shortly.
let me look, what is the time? So we have, I believe we have to render a decision by August 7th.
By August 7th.
No, we did all the work on this, and then I hadn't had anything, so I haven't looked at anything. 60 days from receipt.
Did you say August 2nd, 2?
7.
Or 7? 7? So if we have that timing, then maybe we could find out a little bit more. I mean, maybe it's not structurally sound, maybe the rafters are gone, but you don't know.
Right, you don't know.
The roof looks like there might be some rafter problems.
Yeah. But then again, you look at
But we
that
don't
roof
know.
over there, and
That's correct.
Rich says it's, I mean, you look at the
Old
block.
houses get
and-
like that,
Yeah.
they get settled, and
Yeah,
they didn't do
So-
16 inches on center back then, they often did 2 feet, so it may
I mean,
show the wear of it, yeah.
your term is up June 30th, 24.
Okay,
Janice and Kathy's terms are up on June 30th, 23. However, I believe that until an appointment is, I'm not 100%, there was some discussion about other stuff. Like, I don't know if that means you're out the door or you kind of can continue to serve until you're replaced. Because I think that came up with some other issues you're facing, so that might be a council issue, but that's not really my concern then.
well, it would be lovely to have some communication so we can
Yeah.
figure this out.
I just would hate to continue this hearing and then not be able to take any action, but then again, August 7th isn't that far away.
Right,
we could always meet again before August 7 and make a decision on it, so we don't, so we meet the deadline.
Tomorrow, you no longer have the board.
Oh,
Well, unless you can continue to serve until your appointment's replaced. I don't know if it was people are considering leaving or.
well, I was considering it, but I wanted to find out
Right.
what the problem was against our board.
I think we still would
You know.
all like to know what's
Yeah.
going on.
So I don't know.
It's hard to
I do
work
think
in a
it
vacuum.
would make sense to, for me to continue this if others feel that way, but. I mean, I guess the worst case scenario for the applicant is that they can't do anything until August 7th. I mean, that's not great. but
Right,
given that
right.
There's been no communication of like, this is an emergency, there's a panic, whatever. I don't necessarily feel terrible about holding up.
Right.
But sometimes there have been time crunches.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if the letter is, sent that, because of the amount of the criteria that it meets, that it falls into the preferably preserved category, but, without really having a hands-on, walkthrough, it would be helpful to make a final decision.
I guess I don't know, do you know, it's Joe Alves?
I think he's on right now. Joe,
Cool. Let me stop my share. That would
Is
be
he,
helpful.
is he the person who owns it?
yeah.
That's not the Joe Alves that's on the brothers, I don't think, right? I don't know, can you hear us, Joe? We're just trying to get more information on this condition of this property, if you'd like to comment. Looks like you're muted. Oh, well.
Maybe he stepped away from his computer.
Yeah, well, you know what I would say, if he's not responding, let's just move forward and, send a letter and
So
see.
so are we making a decision, or are we just going to continue the hearing? I mean, we can vote to put a delay on it. If we felt that was necessary, or we could just continue the hearing and not render it, so we have until August 7th.
All right, why don't we continue the hearing?
Yeah.
I think that sounds, and then depending on what happens to,
We should get some, don't let us leave without figuring out meeting dates as well.
yeah, that's a good idea.
It's way easier than trying to email. Like even potentially next week or something sometime. I guess we should make a motion.
I move to continue the hearing for 29 Thornton Street.
I second it.
You said to continue.
continue the hearing.
I move to continue the hearing on 29 Thornton Street and a date to be set by the end of the meeting, prior to August 7th. Who's up now?
Oh, you there?
Who's calling? Joe?
Hello? Yes, I'm here. I'm sorry. I finally figured it out.
Okay.
We're trying to, I guess we're trying to better understand what the condition of the property is. 'Cause I
Uh,
think
The
it is
condition
very
is not very good. Yeah, we were gonna remodel, but it's impossible to remodel, so we're gonna, the only option is to start from scratch. There's too much damage to the structure.
So, what kind of damage are you running into?
Well, there's, the whole place it's very old and it's leaning to the right. If you're looking into the, I'm sorry, to the left, if you're looking into the road. There's structural issues. There's no supporting beams inside. I think it was at some point, somebody must have started some remodeling and never finished. So they must have run into those issues, and then that's most likely why they decided to sell. It was past remodeling.
It was past what?
It was past remodeling stages. It needs a lot more than remodeling. So
Yes.
So they took out structural beams that they needed to
I'm
hold.
assuming because it's all empty. The upstairs the second floor is all open. There's no walls, everything's stripped. So I'm assuming at some point,
Is it balloon framed or is it timber framed? Is it post and beam or
post and beam.
post and beam? That's what I thought from that age.
And it's been vacant?
It's been vacant, yeah, for a long time.
Yeah.
So somebody must have done partial demolition without a permit?
Well, technically, I mean,
Well, there was remodeling done because they covered it up with siding. I'm assuming there was a roof done and siding at some point. I'm assuming probably 20 years ago.
there's a permit for 2001 alterations renovation.
Okay, so that must have been it.
93. So that probably
Yeah,
was
so
sale.
they did some windows and siding and roof, I'm assuming, and then some demo work, but it was never finished.
We have to go dig through the papers to find that. I don't know. Maybe that's on the server. Yes, damn it.
Hmm.
This one, here it is.
So, Joe, this is where we stand right now. Because of the age of the property and its association with the Rogers family and the type of construction, we are hitting 3 of the criteria for demolition delay. So, in order to kind of move forward without having to go down that path, we were wondering if we might be able to come and take a look at the property, at the interior. It is a property, dating back to 1750. We have a small inventory of pre-Revolutionary War homes left in the community. So it does, it was one of several barns, farms that were in heavy operation until about 1960. So, and they were all abutters on Thornton Street and Hartford Ave West. So, how do you feel about that?
How the structure, was that the original? Because there was a barn that was torn down a few years ago. That might have been the original structure. The garage that's next to it and the house, I'm not sure what age it's from, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So, according to the assessor's records and the deed search, it's 1750.
The
That's
house,
this specific property or the barn that used to be there?
the house that's there, the farmhouse.
Okay, the farmhouse, not the original barn. Okay,
Yeah, we're not talking about the barn, we're talking about the house.
the barn's gone. It was there. It was not.
Yeah,
it
the
was
barn's
never-
gone, and then there's that little garage that was newer. But we're speaking about the house.
Okay,
So if we could see the house inside
yeah,
that,
absolutely. You
that
can
would,
certainly see it, yeah.
with no one living there, it would be great if we could tour it. We like to get pictures too, for the history of the town.
Okay, yeah, we can make arrangements for that.
All right, why don't we go ahead and do that? And then what we decided to do while you couldn't get through is we were discussing postponing the hearing to a couple of weeks from now, if that's all right. And then in that interim, we can come out and take a look.
Okay,
All right. So if that sounds agreeable to you, we'll move forward with that plan.
yep, somebody will be in touch with me to schedule the tour.
Yes.
Yeah,
Or-
did you get the comments on Viewpoint, or should I call you? I don't know what's the best way to reach you.
Yeah, I can go on Viewpoint.
I can, I'll comment there. I mean, I think, or either you want to pick something now, but I think maybe do something next couple of weeks, and then we can do another hearing in mid-July. It sounds like for those of you whose terms are up, you would remain until you're replaced. So,
Okay.
hopefully to close that out.
I can be available. Well, what dates would be available for you, Joe?
I can make it whenever everybody else can do it.
Okay, so what can you do, Dan? No schedule around you? Oh, yeah, beach, right? Did you want to go, Janice? Yeah, and Kathy?
I'll go.
Yeah.
Lynn will go
Okay.
too.
So what would
Lynn
be,
won't go. Lynn won't go. Kathy will go.
okay, so when could you guys go?
Anytime before, oh, let's see, it's gonna have to be an afternoon after 2 o'clock. And Fridays are open as well.
Why don't you say, could you do next Friday and then schedule the continuation of the
What's the date next Friday?
Mike can flip a plan.
July 7, you mean?
Is it 7th?
Yeah, that's a setting.
I could do July 7.
About 7. Okay.
Joe, can you do July 7 in the afternoon?
Yes, I can.
Okay. And so we just have to pick what, pardon me?
You say 17 or 7?
7. 7. That's a week from tomorrow. What time in the afternoon is good for you?
That one I'm gonna have to work around the orientation for the Mass Historic. So I didn't get any of the paperwork yet
Oh, okay.
from Mass Historic, but we'll make it work. We'll make it work, so. And Fridays I'm open all day, so.
Oh, okay.
Joe, why
This
don't we
is
get
a
back
point-
to you on a time?
We'll get back on a time, Joe?
Okay. No problem. The closer to 2 o'clock as possible, the better for me.
All right.
I don't-
Okay.
But
Yeah, best for
If
Joe.
if a majority of the members are going to be there, you're going to have to post it, just to let the public know. If you have a quorum, you're going to have to post the meeting.
All right, will do. Do we have time to
And do we
post?
have Joe's phone number?
I won't be able to attend because of work, so.
So it'll be 3 of us, we won't have a quorum.
If it's not a quorum, then I wouldn't be concerned about it. But if you
Okay.
have a quorum, you're going to have to post it as a regular meeting of the Historical Commission. There are some exemptions to that. I could probably take a look at, but generally, if the board is meeting and the quorum is present, then you're required to post.
All right. All right. So Joe, we will be in touch soon, shortly.
All right,
Good?
let me know. I'll plan
right,
for
we'll
the
give you
7th
time.
and I'll find out what time.
Terrific.
And
Great.
Just let me know. Okay,
Thanks for attending.
Thank you very
thank
much.
you. I'm sorry for the delay. I couldn't figure this out.
That's okay.
All
Thank you
right.
so much.
Thanks, bye-bye.
Thanks. Good night.
Good night.
All right, David, let's bring you up to speed.
Okay,
Welcome.
thank you. I guess just I had some thoughts about it today. I haven't had a chance. I don't know if the document or any information about the project is already online. I'm on vacation, which is one of the reasons why I'm kind of casual here. I'm sitting at a picnic table outside of a trailer. So, this is not the way I generally do business, but this is the way we're going to do it just for tonight.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
So I guess a couple things. One would be the grant has been awarded. It was written, there's a grant application, there's a scope. There was an award of X amount of dollars. And did the state Mass Historical Commission, did they forward back what's known as a standard contract? And were there conditions that were attached to the contract?
So we have not received or did you get the
No,
contract?
that's usually the stuff that Jody gets.
Yep, yep.
Because somebody told me the money came through in that portal.
Really?
Yeah, because all the states sent it like a wire transfer. I forget who said that.
Yeah, they transfer it directly.
So she made
And-
she's
and
the
the-
one who asked.
Okay, all right.
The contract will specify the terms of payment. And I'm not sure if this type of grant is a reimbursable or just an outright grant.
No, I mean, from what I've seen, it's going to be, they're very particular, as they all are, but this one in particular.
Yeah.
They want, so what did you do last time? Was it a reimbursement or we get the money?
It was a reimbursement.
Like we had to-
So you have to it has to be funded. Was it funded at a town meeting?
Yeah, because we had to vote some percentage.
Right, and as the bills came in, we processed them and
Yeah.
That
Sent-
workshop.
sent them over, right,
So,
so. Well, David, maybe we'll dial this back a little bit, maybe you can
All right.
meet all of us.
Okay.
Do you know Dan Byer,
Nice to meet you.
you as well?
Connie Beal,
Connie Beal.
Hello.
Hello.
Kathy Schofield,
Okay.
Lynn Roberts,
Nice to meet you.
Janice Moore, Muldoon Moore.
All right. Nice to meet you. I can see the back of your head.
Yeah, she's on the witness protection program, so.
Oh, okay.
So what I am aware of in getting a couple of phone calls through Mass Historic over the past couple of days is that Paul Holtz has spoken with the treasurer's office and Jody Kersey,
Okay.
and they are working their end. There is a training which is available virtually on the 7th of July.
All right. All right. And you have all the information on that? You have it's a Zoom or a Teams meeting or?
I believe it's going to be a Zoom meeting, but actually probably Teams. But all of that information is coming. Ross Deagle has COVID, so he was supposed to
Oh.
send a package, and we should be receiving it any day now, so that we can get all that paperwork ready. And then I think the only other thing is just to kind of get you in the loop as to what the project involves, and it's not cut and dry, it's rather complicated.
Okay.
Because we need to process an easement or a land donation, which we were working with Karis North
Okay.
from town council on, but it's, we haven't been able to pick up that conversation again with her. So there's a lot of moving pieces and parts. The
All right.
town appropriated $117,000 for the project through CPA funds,
All right.
CPA Historic.
Question. Their website says the workshop is Thursday, July 6th. LPC workshop management program.
Okay. That would be COVID brain, I
Well, no,
think.
their website could be.
No, I would trust their website.
I don't know, maybe,
Yeah. But I will contact Paul and uh, Ross and get them in direct contact with you so you can banter back and forth if, when the meeting is, what the materials are and,
All right.
I mean, I guess for what it's worth, I don't mind doing what I can to help push paperwork.
yeah.
My capacity on this commission is volunteer, so I don't have a whole lot of time. My vision of the town is not to restore, but I don't mind helping the administrative side too, in terms of the process of government.
Yeah, yeah.
If someone's gonna have, I think the committee, it's gonna have to be a commission to make decisions to manage this project, but I don't know how that impact on the town hall.
Right,
There's
right.
gonna be questions that come up and someone's gonna need to answer them.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Dan is kind of the point guard here because several of us have expired on the commission. Our terms are done, and we've decided not to return. So, but Dan is very knowledgeable, and, I certainly would continue working with Armando Pierre, who is the architectural firm that did the proposal for us. And I'll send all that along to you as well.
Okay. That was procured through 30B. Was it a preliminary design? Was it?
Yep.
I guess I'm kind of in the dark here. I'm taking a lot of shots in the dark because I'm just trying to get a handle specifically on what the type of project it is, what types of things will need to be done. Are there procurement issues that need to be addressed? How we best go about that. You said there are moving pieces. Getting familiar with what those moving pieces are and putting together some kind of probably a PERT chart, a program evaluation review chart, so we could
Yep.
lay out a timeline that, we can follow and potentially get reimbursed on a regular basis and have it move along on a speedy path.
Yep. Yep. And Mass Historic sets that up with us as well. They want to do regular checks. They want to make sure that we have somebody on the ground going in and, making sure everything is, moving along.
Yep.
I think, our original plan was to ask for funds to not only stabilize the building, which
All right.
has a fieldstone foundation and has water issues, serious water issues. The building dates back to 1820. It was the law office of Seth Hastings, who served in Congress. It's very small, but it's very significant in this community. It served as city hall for a while for the town, and had taken over a couple of different roles. The town purchased it in, I believe it was 1898, to use it for its, for different purposes. So it's a brick building. It has not been touched in quite some time. With water issues, we've got powder post beetle damage issues. The structural supports are iffy. So Mass Historic was willing to put enough money towards stabilization of the building. Our
Okay.
plan was to install a bathroom, a tight tank, and a water source so that the building can be used in the future.
Like a
Figuring,
functional purpose.
yeah, I mean, to spend all this money, it would be, important to make sure the building is functional. So it's got none of those features. It's, it had an outhouse.
Sounds interesting. I was a history major in college, so I take a special interest in seeing, buildings preserved and things being restored to the historical integrity of the actual structure. I have worked with Mass Historical on a couple different projects. One in the Uxbridge Town Hall on some window installations in the upper town hall. And in Millbury, when I was there, we had the building painted. And just as a preface, I don't know if they still do this, but when you accept money from Mass Historical, they basically implement a series of conditions that you, in the future, should you make certain changes, that you have to make sure that those changes are in accordance with, the historical integrity of the building. And some towns don't want to do that. I think that's a big part of it, because that's what we're trying to do. And I would just be curious about what the conditions were that they're going to place as a rider on the contract.
Yeah, and we, one of the riders was, prior to getting the grant money, was to have a preservation restriction on that building.
Yeah, that's
but we're
that's
pretty-
common.
Yeah, we're pretty familiar with preservation restrictions, because there's one on this town hall. There is one on a 10-year preservation restriction on the library, and there's nothing on the police station. So, we've done this with them before.
Yeah, the intent is, for example, if you're going to, redo the windows in the town hall, you don't want to put vinyl windows in. You want to, put something that is historically accurate to the, maybe custom made, a little bit more expensive, or at least architecturally correct to match the historical integrity of the building.
Yeah.
Yeah. Time about 20 years to tell some people that.
Yeah.
Stupidest thing in one of them.
I know. Yeah, big mistake. Yep.
Someday they all have to come out and go back to old.
All right, well, so, do you have any other questions for us in terms of what this project is going to entail? I mean, we have about a year to complete it.
Okay.
Just on the ground, getting started. Armando was going to try to join us tonight, but he was on his way back from a job. But we'd love to get you guys in touch with each other, and
Absolutely.
he's very good to work with. I mean, he's
So the way this works, we have to go out to bid and hire a contractor.
yes, yep, yep. And
The
he's
actual
breaking all that
construction.
down for us.
Do we have a project manager now?
David's going to be the
David's gonna
project
be the
manager
project manager?
for the town.
Yeah. Well, like I said, in my role, I'm anticipating that I'm probably going to be the interim for about 4 to 6 months while the board goes out and finds a new permanent full-time town administrator. We'll get this thing up, we'll get it running, we'll get it, to the point of where that is. And if it's a year project, we'll probably be handing it off to the full-time person once that person is appointed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm helping any way I can. I would like some information on the project, if there's a grant application that's in a digital form that I could take a look at. And where, like, I live in Uxbridge, so I'd be curious as to where the structure is. I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
We'll give you the tour if you're around when you're back.
It's right on our main
It's
street.
right on Founders Park. We gotta move the mics around. It's right by Founders Park, a little bit down the road on Main Street.
Oh, all right. I know what that is.
That little
All right.
tiny brick building, there's two of them. One's like yellow
Okay.
right by the park, and the next one's like 4 houses down.
All right.
And they were both.
I'm not going to be back until probably early next week, but I'll take a ride by and check it out. And I haven't signed a contract yet, so I'm still technically not an employee of the town, but I anticipate that's going to be done shortly.
All right, well, that sounds great. And we do have some, we've had some experience working with Mass Historic as well. They did an evaluation of this whole campus. So we did, the whole application process, we did the follow-up. And so we have some knowledge, as to what we're doing. So we can, we can
Yeah.
work as a team.
Yeah, we'll be a great team. Looking forward to it.
Great. All right, well, enjoy your vacation.
All right, thank you very much. It was nice letting me attend the meeting and getting to meet each of you. And like I said, I look forward to working with you.
Sounds great.
Okay,
Thank you, David.
thank you.
All right,
Good night.
night.
What else was on here? We didn't have any minutes, right?
You stepped down, and you're the one who knows everything.
Yeah,
How does that work?
well, I talked to Armando. He really does want to talk to us, so I told him, we could work in the background, and kind of, 'cause I mean, this can't be dumped on you, Jim.
Yeah, I know.
There's just too much that needs to get done.
Yeah, I know, that's
So
the
I don't
scary thing,
mind.
yeah.
Seeing this project through and, working as a liaison. I don't think Gwen does either because she likes Armando. As long as it doesn't get political.
Yeah, it's
I
nice.
mean,
to have
I
a
don't
good-
mind, like I said, we've put so much work into this damn building. I'm so angry that we're not gonna get to see it through.
I know.
So if he needs help or he needs something, that we can do as volunteers, but I don't know if that's gonna be, that can happen. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's difficult to lose the institutional memory, you know?
yes, I should be institutionalized, you're right,
Right.
Connie. At this
Right.
stage of the game.
Is there, so is there anything else we have to discuss in the actual posted meeting? Not, are we good to adjourn?
Yeah, so what was on next?
Oh, we should talk
agenda?
about a date if we need to, right? I'm trying to find the agenda, hang on.
I don't have meeting
Well, we're
minutes,
gonna-
they're halfway done, so.
That's the wrong board, hang on.
We're gonna go the 7th to look at Thornton, and then,
Historic. I have too many tabs open. So no minutes, whatever, that's fine. Don't feel bad, I'm so far behind.
Oh,
I hate
can't-
minutes.
I can't even imagine what your life is like right now. I don't
Demo
even.
hearing, and then I don't know if we want to talk about, if we need talking about the commission, the grant, next meeting date.
next meeting date.
I believe that's it. So, we could meet, when was planning
When was planning for what?
board in general? Because we were meeting,
I don't know.
they're the first and the third, I
Doing
think,
Mondays
right?
now.
We had gone back to the 3rd.
Or is planning the second and fourth? Because they were gonna meet on Juneteenth, so that was the 1, 2, so they're the first and third, I think. That's right, and I was away on the 5th.
So first and
So
third,
planning is probably on the 3rd, although they haven't posted, so maybe not, and then the 17th, so we could
Yeah,
meet,
they were on for
because I'm no longer
June
available
5.
on Thursday nights now for like a month.
told you we had
You
something.
could pick
else
another
to do.
day
I
then.
know. He's good.
So if you go there on the 7th, we could post a meeting for the 10th. Even if it just has to be a
10th of
quick,
July.
the 10th of July, and just make it a quick, potentially even full remote meeting.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
why don't we do that?
I don't know.
Monday, we're gonna meet Mondays then?
Well, I think in this case, if we're just
Yeah.
picking another meeting date to get through this and then go bit by bit. Otherwise, the next one on my calendar is the 24th. I think it's the 1, 2, 3. I had the 4th Monday. Is that historic or historic district? I don't even remember.
No.
I can't keep anything straight if it's not whatever.
So are we gonna meet on July 10?
If that works for people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at 7 PM? Is that right?
That would be better for me.
Okay. And then,
And there's a chance, if I might have to be a little bit later than that, but hopefully we're getting things together.
7 o'clock.
okay.
I totally forgot, I should go back over there. I did go almost a month ago and looked at the sump a little bit, and it seemed to be, I'd unplugged it and shook it out and put it back in to see how it's working.
On the records room, you mean?
In the records room. The basement seems, it's wet, but it's not underwater, so.
With all this rain we've had the past week,
I know.
it's probably up to the ceiling.
Yeah, I'll go.
I'll go check
I'll
on
run
it.
it. Tomorrow's my day off, so I can buzz in there and see what's going
Because
on.
it seemed like it was all swirling around, and I couldn't tell if it was blocked, or what the deal was, but I think they might just do that sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. Plus, it gets so much sediment and
Yeah,
like that rotting wood from,
Yeah.
it clogs that thing up.
I know, we put one in the basement of the beach house. That's helped a little bit.
Yeah.
We may need to put one in the basement of the museum someday, but we probably gotta blow a hole in the floor, so
We gotta do it.
it'll work. That one doesn't, I mean, every now and then it gets water, but it doesn't ever seem to be like, underwater for a week. It just gets like a couple inches of water and it goes away.
Right.
But I think you're higher up.
You're higher, you mean the historical
The
society?
old
brick
museum
one?
building, yeah,
that's higher,
whatever
but
you wanna
now
call it.
everything is flowing down
Christmas
this
light
way.
storage,
Yeah.
the official Christmas light storage building.
Yes, yeah.
Sounds like the brothers are gonna work out a deal with the society, by the way, because I think they felt that garage would make a whole lot more sense. Supposedly Bruce was talking to Rich, so I don't think they're interested in the town building anymore. I think there was just too much.
I mean, it is very convenient. It's easy in, easy out, and we purged a lot of stuff. And we still have to purge a lot of stuff.
Yeah, when I think there's an opportunity for them to work together and maybe partner on, if somebody needs a repair
That's
done,
good.
and figure that out, because I think maybe I'm selfish, but it would be nice to not have to worry about 37 different things.
Yeah. Gee, what's the matter, Dan?
You went in there. I still didn't I gotta put all the lights away, preferably before October. It would be nice.
Yeah. You know what? We're gonna have a
Sort
new
everything.
sign. We're gonna take down Menon Historical Society, and we're gonna put up Santa's Workshop.
Hey, you should. So Joe Hood can do those. That's a good
Oh
idea.
my God, let's do it.
Maybe I'll ask him if you ever need signs done, Joe Hood has like a CNC router he can do. Because I was talking to Jody, I think we want to get him to do the signs in this building.
Oh,
For the
yes.
offices.
Yeah. I think he came over to the society to do,
Oh, did I? Yeah, I think I told somebody,
yeah,
Ruth, or might have been Ruth.
Ruth O'Grady
Okay.
probably.
Ruth, I think it was Ruth Cathanelli.
Oh,
Yes,
all
now,
right.
why was I
yeah.
there? There was some reason I went there to drop something off. I don't remember why. It was a while ago. I haven't seen them. But anyway, all right.
So, Dan, can you think, I mean, this is gonna be a crazy summer, just trying to get the records room off the ground. I can't imagine that the commission is gonna take on anything else. And I am starting to wonder if the windows need to be,
Well, so my takeaway from this window project is that we may have signed a contract with that person we met with, Ryan,
yeah,
and that they were going to go work on a preliminary plan because he was going to talk to some people because there was a question about the elevator and come back with options. And then we never heard another word. My guess is because nobody followed up, and so they're so busy, so it just got
Yeah.
tabled.
yeah.
But I'm not sure in that project, other than like saying, here's option A, B, and C, what's your recommendation? That's really the only thing I think the commission needs to do. And then from that point on, they're going to write the scope of work and go out and do the work, and that becomes a bigger project. Because I believe, from what I've heard, it's the windows plus whatever's going to go on in the back hallway. And
That must have changed because the very last thing that I had was from Kim at the meeting that
Yeah.
we were at. And she said, we're not doing anything with the windows. The windows aren't included. That's down to Historical Commission. We're not dealing with that.
oh, well, that's
And that was a
not been
separate
told to me.
project from there. And that's got to be the very last meeting that we had, I think,
I mean,
with the select board.
This is why, I'll even say this in the video. How ridiculous is it that that's the introduction to this gentleman? I mean, granted, he hasn't been hired yet, and I understand that, but that's amazing that he took the time to come to our meeting, but nobody
Right.
can be bothered to communicate
Well,
anything.
why isn't there a member of select board here? I thought we had
Regards
to
to
have a
that.
select board rep.
Well, I would have liked to think that somebody would volunteer and sit in.
So I think, maybe I think in terms of the windows, but regardless of what the status is, I don't, even if it's the commission's project, all we're gonna potentially would be doing is engaging an engineer to do all the work and basically
Talking about
coming
the
back.
windows in the records?
No,
room?
the windows to
No,
this
windows
building.
in this
Oh,
building.
this town hall.
Yeah.
No, the rumor, and I don't know how much it's ever gonna happen, they were gonna open up that back hallway, perhaps give Jean a window into her room. Because I mean, it's unfortunate that stairwell was not done with historic in mind either. It's just like a thing on the back of the building.
Right.
But perhaps that needs to be a topic for a joint discussion with the select board of just saying, hey, like, we need to talk about this project. Who's in charge of it? Who's doing what? What's the timeline? Are we tabling it or are we not?
You're overstepping there, Dan.
Somebody's got to talk
I
about it.
think there has to be a conversation and that it needs to be initiated and all of these loose ends really need to be tied up.
Yeah, well, specific to the, specific, let's talk about just the windows. What is the plan for this? Is it not happening? Is it happening? Who's in charge of it? What is the anticipated timeline?
Right. It's like tonight, you can't wait until a week before to iron out the details of who's
Right.
going to attend the training, who's going to be in charge of what, which is, Mass Historic is already, scrambling,
Right.
in chaos and, because we can't feed them any correct answers.
Yeah,
We
I
haven't
think,
been able
bigger
to.
picture, there need to be some other conversations, and I have said that to two people now, and I don't know whether those conversations will happen. How are we gonna move forwards here? What is the plan? But,
Right.
I think, it sounds like this gentleman has, some stuff to bring to the table that would be very
Yeah.
helpful.
Experience is a good
Yeah.
thing. It sounds like he can get engaged in the process, so.
And
I
I'm
just wonder-
excited about it.
Yeah, I just wonder how much else he's gonna be taking on, but one step at a time.
So I don't know, but yeah, I think, just the windows, I think it would be worth, maybe not, unfortunately, it probably needs to wait a bit, let the dust settle on this.
Yeah, oh yeah,
In terms of, wait till he's officially appointed and then reach out to them and say, hey, there needs to be an agenda item to talk about this project. I mean, I think, and maybe go through Mike Goddard,
yeah,
since he seems to want to push on that. Maybe CPA too should be part of it.
yeah.
What did we fund? We funded just the engineering, not the windows themselves, right?
Right,
It was only, yeah.
Yeah,
it's just unfortunate, when things like this get stalled out, the price keeps going up
Right.
and up
Mhm.
and up,
yep.
so, it needs a commitment. You're either gonna do it or you're just gonna let it go, just.
Right, well, it's just all of this stuff, it all needs to be seen as a single project.
Yeah,
It's all connected. And every time we take down a wall, put the wall back up, paint the wall, rip the wall down, and how many times have we repainted things, we're throwing our money away. And you're right, and inflation, I mean, look at how much more, I mean, granted, this came out beautifully, but
It did, it did.
the price tag to do it down there was more than half, less than half,
right.
so.
Well, the landscaping is great.
This has come out, it will probably be gone. You'll have to drive by at night. The lights are too bright. They're going to adjust them. They get enough. We haven't bugged them yet. And they're two different, they got to make it match. But it looks really nice.
It really does. I mean, from back here, looking up, I mean, all you would see was cars and cars. It's
Yeah.
like trees and grass, and it's like, wow.
Were you
And
at
then, Connie and I were talking about, you turn around and there's, the field.
Yeah.
Vincent's Field.
Were you at the
Nice.
workshop?
I didn't.
It was
I
very,
didn't attend.
that was very productive. We had people from other towns came, other towns' conservation commissions. So that was really nice. Because I think, really the idea is that this is meant to be an example where you can be in the planning board meeting and say, hey, go look outside. That's what we want your whatever to look like.
Right. Yeah,
I think it looks absolutely amazing.
yeah.
Absolutely. Even the sidewalk. I was watching those guys building that sidewalk the other day. I mean, this is what we've been all wanting for such a long time. Something to be proud of.
Absolutely.
And have, like with the old houses, something that we can be proud of and say, yeah, this is Mendon.
Yeah.
Rather than just, whatever people are going to do, I
The
guess.
unkept, overlooked, falling apart
Yep,
town.
yep.
Blink
You
your
know.
eyes and you're through it.
Yeah, right, still.
That's still the way it is.
All right, so, do we want to close the meeting? Unless anybody
Yeah.
has anything else that,
You know.
Did we need to set, oh, we did set the date for the 10th at 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
We're not going to discuss 3B,
What's 3B?
the status of the commission and reappointment?
um, you can talk off camera.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that email. I believe that's the gentleman that got elected to the library trustees. He's
Yes.
Howie Phipps, something like the third. I forget the relation. They're related to Charlie somehow, but like
Yeah.
uncle. So I replied and said we were meeting tonight and it would, if he could attend. I mean, I don't know him all that well. I don't know. I guess he decided to get involved, but.
Yeah, yeah.
And somebody Ellen knew over on Vincent, she was trying to get them, because there's several vacancies on this and district.
Yeah, the woman that is, up next to Founder's Park, we really
my
should tap
God.
into her.
She's like if you talk to her,
Yeah,
she's amazing.
yeah.
She's from England. She's some sort of like history major.
We're just-
Does,
Oh my
she
God,
does
you're
horses,
amazing.
something, she like works at a horse camp or something with horses in Dover. She was telling me, I
Wow.
must have talked to her for like an hour when I was over the thing. She's awesome. I wish we could get her involved. I was trying to bug her. I'm like, you could sign a remote. You don't even need to be in the country.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Works for me.
Yeah.
She's no, she's a really interesting person.
All right, maybe we should just write her a letter.
What the heck is her name? Oh, I forget, but I've met her a few times, and that came out nice too. Thank you to the scouts.
Didn't they do a beautiful job?
I didn't even know they were doing it. I went up to go steal a couple buckets of mulch to do the things because after Ruth planted the flowers, I'm like, oh, there we go. Joe's like, oh yeah.
Yeah, it looks great. I
Yeah.
mean, you know what? It is a world of difference to keep that park mulched.
Yeah, when
You
they
know?
can, if that's something they could take on, that would be helpful.
So wonderful. Yeah,
Because he said they're always looking for projects like that, and it's an easy one
Right.
because all the kids are right there.
right, right. And they did such a good job. I mean, it really was.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
definitely coming. We got to put that at sign in. I just haven't. I think I was gonna take out that old post, but I think it's in concrete because it wasn't moving.
Probably, yeah.
So I got to get some things and pull it out. But we do have the new sign. It's just in the building.
And I'm a little worried about the sycamore trees. This is very late for them to leaf out.
Yeah.
Something's going on. But Bartlett Tree is coming. They've been out.
What did they do? Did they do the like radiological sonar thing they were gonna
Yeah, they're
do
gonna
or
do
something?
the sonar scoping.
They haven't
and
done it
try to
yet.
figure, no, they did.
They
I
did.
think they did it like last week or something, because the invoices just came in.
Yeah, I
But
saw
yeah,
that.
they're gonna do they're looking inside the trunk of the tree to
See if
see,
it's alive and.
yeah, see what the general
Not
health
that- where
is.
are
Those
these
ones
trees?
that are
Those
by
two
Founder's
huge
Park.
ones.
Yeah,
The two big trees on the
They're
road on
alive?
Founder's Park.
Oh,
They're
Founder's
like, you
Park,
know.
oh, yeah, okay.
they get really, they did a lot of shedding last year because of the drought.
Yeah.
And then this year it is, I mean,
What's the
we're in
life on
July
those
and they're
trees?
just starting to leaf.
Yeah, there's a lot of,
That's not quite right.
yeah, I think that's happening with quite
They
a
can
lot
leave
of
for
trees.
400 years.
Yeah,
Live. So and they got to be 200.
at least, yeah.
This says they can live for 600 years.
I believe that.
Past 250.
Are there any beetles get into them like they do on the ashes and things?
I don't.
Those things
You know,
do a
it-
job.
I don't think so, but they have anthracnose virus, which is what makes the branches,
Yeah.
look so weird.
Mm.
You can treat it for anthracnose. We just opted not to do it, just to have them pruned in the fall, and then once we get the information from the scoping,
Yeah.
then we'll decide what to do with the anthracnose treatment. But it's tricky. The blue spruce are having problems with needle cast. We've got woolly adelgid coming in on the hemlocks, so it's tricky.
Yeah.
Drought
this
does a
weather is-
lot.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
It's been so erratic.
So are we done?
Yeah,
Well,
let's close the meeting.
Make a
and then we'll-
motion to
Adjourn,
adjourn.
and
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.